the top 4 most underrated suburbs in all of Salt Lake City. Now, some of these areas range from actually the lowest price points in and around Salt Lake City all the way up to some of the most expensive neighborhoods. Not only do they range in price, but you also have some of the highest rated school districts that are part of these 4 subdivisions. Now, if you're interested to know what makes these 4 suburbs a hidden gem, we're going to dive into this video. Most people that call us wanting to relocate to Salt Lake City are calling about places like Sugar House, Sandy, Draper, Holiday, Daybreak, some of those really well-known areas. But these 4 suburbs tend to be a little bit more hidden gems, and we're going to dive into each one of these, and I'm going to explain what makes them stand out, what are some of the unique features, and what does real estate look like in these 4 subdivisions. But first, my name is Scott Willey. This is the Salt Lake City Living channel. Now, if you're interested in moving to Salt Lake, or if you've been here for a while and want to jump into the housing market, this channel is going to bring you information you should know about living in Salt Lake City. Of course, reach out to us. Our contact information is in the description below. You can reach out to us, phone call, text, hop on a Zoom call. We're excited to help you explore the Salt Lake area. All right, starting with the first subdivision that's a hidden gem is Stansbury Park. Now, this is the lowest price point of the 4 that we're going to talk about today. The median house price is $446,000, and the population of Stansbury Park is only about 10,000 people. That is a pretty small town. Most suburbs of Salt Lake City are going to be in the 50,000 and above, so a 10,000 population is a really small town. The reason for that is Stansbury is a relatively new subdivision. It hasn't been around very long. In fact, you'll notice when we get to the real estate portion of this town, most of the houses are brand new construction because it's been developed over the last couple of years. Let's hop into the map view. I'm going to show you where Stansbury Park is and what to consider if you're thinking about relocating there. Zooming out here, we have the Salt Lake City Valley. And if you come over here to the west and you're following I-80 out to the west, the first town you're going to get to is Lake Point / Stansbury Park. I'm going to refer to both of these as Stansbury Park because they're right next to each other, and one kind of bleeds over into the next. What makes Stansbury Park unique is you're really not that far away from downtown Salt Lake City. Obviously, I-80 is going to be your main corridor to get to the Salt Lake County, and it's really not too far if you're having to commute to Salt Lake City. You're talking about maybe a 15-20 minute drive, and yet it's one of the few places where you can actually find new construction at a reasonably affordable rate that is still relatively close to downtown Salt Lake City. Stansbury Park tends to be a little bit more country, a little bit more secluded, so it might not be a good fit for you if you want the hustle and bustle or if you want a big nightlife. But if you like a little bit more secluded area, if you like a little bit more quiet lifestyle with great views, and you still want to be relatively close to downtown Salt Lake, it could be a great option for you. Let's touch on a couple of special features of Stansbury Park. Of course, they have their own golf course, the Stansbury Park Golf Course. So really nice if you enjoy those outdoor activities, if you want to get out to the walking trails or hit around a golf with your buddies without having to drive all the way to the golf courses in Salt Lake. It's nice that it's kind of right in your backyard. The second big feature is called the Benson Grist Mill. They have local farmers markets there. They'll have activities throughout the year. They have a fall festival that they'll do. They also like to showcase sort of the original pioneer living of the first settlers in Salt Lake City. So it's a cool place to take your family and kind of see what Salt Lake living was like 100 and 150 years ago. The third part is the actual views of the Great Salt Lake Park. So as you can see from the map, you're talking maybe a 10-15 minute drive. What's really cool about this park is you've got views right on the water. Great place to take your kids, to go take your dog for a walk. And it's really one of the few parks where you can have this really majestic, for lack of a better word, view of the Great Salt Lake. Now I'm going to show you a little bit more of the actual real estate and what's going on in Stansbury Park. Looking at a large macro view, you'll notice that there's not a ton of new construction in the valley, but if we come over here to the west and you look at Lake Point and Stansbury Park in particular, there's like this huge cluster of new construction homes. And it's because these are relatively newer towns that haven't really developed until the last few years. So let's start up here on the northern half in Lake Point. You'll notice that the main builder in this area looks like is Richmond American Homes. Most of their houses are going to be in the 700, 800,000 range, and really common here to have, you know, bigger houses. So in this case, 4,400 square feet. Half of that being in the basement, so this is Rambler style. Really common for new construction to have an unfinished basement. You'll see that a lot throughout Salt Lake. And even coming over here to Stansbury Park proper, you can see the little man-made lake right there, as well as the golf course. A lot of new construction opportunities. Ivory Homes is another big builder that's out there. So it's just crazy to see so many new construction homes, and they kind of have a little bit lower price point than you might expect in some other areas. They've got some homes here in the 500s, 600s, and then of course you can see it goes all the way up to the 700s and above. So there is Stansbury Park. Let's move on to hidden gem number 2, which is going to be West Jordan. So the median home value in West Jordan is $471,000 for the population of 116,000 people, significantly bigger than Stansbury Park. And you'll notice that it takes up a lot more land value as well. West Jordan is very spread out. Let's go ahead and take a look at it on the map. West Jordan takes up a lot of land area in Salt Lake City. You'll notice it comes all the way over here to the western half, and then almost touching Highway 15 that bisects the valley. So definitely a very large portion of the valley. So a couple things that make West Jordan unique. Number 1 is that it's the 3rd ranked best school district in all of Salt Lake City. You'll also notice that there's quite a variety in home prices in West Jordan. You can find those homes that are in the lower price range all the way up to the, you know, luxury 7-figure homes. So you can really kind of find whatever you're looking for in whatever price range you want in West Jordan. It's one of the few subdivisions in all of Salt Lake where that is the case. It's not like the really expensive areas where everything's super expensive, or the super low price point areas where it's all relatively older homes or homes that haven't been updated. You can kind of find a little bit of everything in West Jordan. You'll also notice that some of the nicest neighborhoods in all of Salt Lake are actually in West Jordan. A lot of people don't realize that. They think of areas like, you know, Sugar House or Olympus Cove, where everyone knows that there's nice neighborhoods, but West Jordan has some really secret neighborhoods that are just as nice as any other places in Salt Lake. Places like Orchard Heights and Bloomfield Farms. What you'll notice is, particularly on the map, that this western half here, this is where you'll notice a lot of the more expensive neighborhoods tend to be. Like I just mentioned Bloomfield Heights. A couple of special features of West Jordan is going to be the South Valley Regional Airport. Now, this isn't one of those major airports that you're going to fly in and out of like you would Salt Lake City International, but really cool if you enjoy general aviation. I feel like every time I go show houses in West Jordan, you'll see people booming around overhead in a little Cessna. So if you have any interest at all in general aviation or maybe getting your private pilot's license, you'll see a ton of people flying around overhead in West Jordan, which is really interesting and unique. You'll also notice that there's some really, really cool outdoor shopping centers. So 2 in particular is Jordan Landing and Gardner Village. Gardner Village is on the east side of West Jordan, right off the freeway here, and it's a great outdoor shopping center, lots of restaurants and things to do, whereas Jordan Landing is actually on the west side of West Jordan, much closer to where the airport is. So located right about there. And both have phenomenal shopping, very popular, especially in the summertime when the weather's nice, and are really 2 of the more unique features of West Jordan that a lot of other suburbs don't have. Now let's dive into the real estate. So here is a map of all the actively listed single family homes in West Jordan, showing you in this depicted shaded area. Like I said, West Jordan is relatively big. It takes up a lot of geographical land space. And again, the unique aspect of real estate in West Jordan is that you can get anything from the lower price ranges. Again, these are all just single family homes, let alone the townhomes or condos available. You'll notice that there's houses over here on the east side that are in the 200s and the 300 range, all the way up, 600, 700,000. And then if you come over here to some of those more expensive neighborhoods on the west side, west of the Mountain View corridor, which is one of the main corridors running through there, you'll see properties all the way up into the 1.2 range. So let's take a look at this one. See, it's listed over 1.2. Big house, 4,900 square feet. Let's take a look at some of the photos here of what this looks like. So you could tell it's a relatively new home, has a very modern look to it with these tall ceilings, updated kitchen. But it's just interesting that West Jordan has really every type of property you could imagine, and they're all very unique in location or what they offer. Again, the Jordan School District is really well known and a lot of people want to live there, but it's just I think a unique aspect that you can find properties in really every price range in just one suburb. The third suburb on our list is Bluffdale. Bluffdale has a population of just over 17,000 people, so again, it's a relatively small area. The median house price is $573,000. On the map, you'll see that Bluffdale is located on the very southern portion of Salt Lake County. It's kind of just to the west of Highway 15. If you go east of 15, you bleed over into Draper. And if you continue going west, that would be Harriman. And if you continue going north, that'd be Riverton. So it's kind of tucked in there, right at the boundary between Salt Lake County and down here of Utah County. A couple of interesting things to take note of for Bluffdale. Again, it tends to be a lot of new construction. There really wasn't much out here 10 years ago. This was mostly just farmland. You'll also notice that there isn't a ton of commercial, there isn't a ton of restaurants or, developed areas. Bluffdale has really emerged over the last decade or so as having a lot of newer construction opportunities and still being really conveniently located next to Highway 15. Let's take a look at the real estate going on in Bluffdale. It tends to be a little bit higher price point. You'll notice that there's quite a few homes here listed over $1 million. But if you're looking for a location that's easily accessible, it's still in Salt Lake County. You still have relatively convenient and easy access to Salt Lake City, but it's maybe a newer or more emerging market. This could be a great opportunity to get into a newer home as the city of Bluffdale starts to develop in the future. Number 4 on the list is Bountiful. Bountiful is going to be located up here to the north. So here's downtown Salt Lake City. If you continue taking I-15 in the north, the first major town you're going to get to is Bountiful / Woods Cross. Bountiful can be kind of divided into 3 main areas. You have West Bountiful to the west. You have sort of downtown Bountiful here in the center. And then on the east side is considered more of the bench. Now, Bountiful is interesting because a lot of people move into Salt Lake City, think of moving in Salt Lake County, but Bountiful is actually located in Davis County. Now, even though it's one county over, because it's right on the border, you're still about a 15-minute drive from downtown Salt Lake City. So really close to the airport, as you can see here, really close to downtown, and a lot of these other really popular areas. What's really cool about Bountiful is you're kind of out of the hustle and bustle of Salt Lake City, but you still get that outdoor recreational feel. So all along the east side here, there's tons of hiking and biking trails. Bountiful is a really popular area for outdoor enthusiasts, people that want to live near Salt Lake but don't want to live downtown. Bountiful can be a really cool spot, and it tends to attract people that enjoy the outdoors, people that have families, people that want single family homes but want a little bit more privacy. Bountiful's population is 46,000 people, and the median home price is $523,000. So of the 4 that we looked at today, It's the highest price point of the four, but I think for good reason. Okay, now let's dive into the real estate in Bountiful. These are all the currently actively listed homes in the area. You'll notice if you continue going north, you jump into Centerville. Centerville is really more of a township than its own city. A lot of people kind of consider it part of Bountiful. And then on the south side, this is where North Salt Lake is considered. So Bountiful is kind of a mix between those two areas, as well as Woods Cross. I've always thought that it's one of the most underrated areas, again, because of the proximity to places like Mueller Park and these trails that are just on the East Bench, but you're still relatively close to Salt Lake City. A couple things to know about real estate in Bountiful. So these are all the actively listed homes. You'll notice a couple of overall trends with Bountiful. The first is, in general, the further east you live, the more expensive the houses tend to get. Now, that's also true of the Salt Lake Valley. A couple of reasons for that. I think as you go east, the elevation starts to get higher, and you also tend to get a little bit more secluded from, the downtown area of Bountiful. Here, these houses all along the East Bench tend to have really, really good views, particularly of not just the mountains to the east, but of the Great Salt Lake to the west. So you get really nice open views. You also tend to be higher elevation, so above some of that inversion layer that occurs during the wintertime. So cleaner air, better views, and a little bit more secluded from the rest of downtown Bountiful. So there you have it. Those are the top 4 most underrated suburbs, in my opinion, in and around Salt Lake City. Hope this video was informational. Again, if you have questions about the Salt Lake City real estate market, you can contact us. Our description is in below. Thanks for checking out the channel.